Hello. Are you sitting comfortably? This is a story called East of the Sun and West of the Moon, and it goes like this. Once upon a time there lived a poor farmer and his grown-up daughter. Now, the farmer's wife had died many years ago when the girl was still very young, and he had raised her all by himself. The farmer loved his daughter very much, but the life he lived was a hard one, for the farm was in a cold, dark and lonely part of the country, without many friends or neighbours to keep them company. So the farmer dreamed of one day being able to give his daughter a better life, but he couldn't imagine how that might happen. One wild and blustery winter, just as the farmer and his daughter were sitting down to eat their dinner, there came a knock at the door. A storm was raging outside so loudly that at first they thought it was just the wind, but then it came again, louder and louder. Who could that be all the way out here in the mountains in this terrible weather at this time of night, wondered the farmer as he got up to answer the door. Who do you think it was? A polar bear? A huge, hulking, hairy polar bear. The farmer quaked in his boots. Please, oh please, he said, don't hurt me. If you are hungry, me and my daughter would be happy to share our food with you. The polar bear opened its big mouth wide, revealing rows of huge, terrifyingly sharp teeth. And he spoke. Farmer, he said, I have no wish to hurt you, but I am in need of your help. My castle is far away to the north, but in this storm I can't see my way. I need a companion to come with me and carry a light to guide me. In exchange, I can make you rich beyond your wildest dreams. I might not look like much, but I can promise you I'm a very rich bear. The farmer's daughter, overhearing their conversation, rushed over to the doorstep. Bear, she cried, please don't ask this of my father. He is growing old and should not be out on a cold night like this. I will go with you, and I will carry my lantern instead. I am young and fast, and perhaps I can be useful to you. The farmer was frightened and tried to argue with her, but her mind was made up. She had lived on this lonely farm all her life, with only her father for company, and was excited by the thought of seeing a rich polar bear's castle. Wasn't this what he'd always wanted for her? It felt just like a fairy tale. That's settled then, said the bear. I'll wait here while you fetch your boots and lantern. So the bear and the farmer's daughter set off, he racing through the howling storm on all four paws, she riding along on his back and holding up the light to guide his way. After what felt like hours, she could finally begin to make out the shape of a huge white castle in the distance, and as they drew closer, she could see it in all its glory. A glittering palace of snow and ice. She had never seen anything so beautiful. You must stay the night here, said the bear. Please make yourself at home. Someone will show you to your room. I have only one rule. You must not leave your room after midnight. But the farmer's daughter wasn't listening. She was so excited to explore the palace that she barely heard what he was saying. Later that night, after she had been shown to her bedroom, she heard a strange voice downstairs. It was a man's voice, one that didn't belong to anyone she had met in the castle so far. Silently she snuck out of bed and tiptoed downstairs, following the sound of the voice into the great hall. There she found a handsome prince, anxiously pacing the floor, muttering in hushed tones something about a spell. When he eventually looked up and saw her standing there watching him, he growled, a deep, terrifying growl, just like a bear's. Instantly the farmer's daughter knew that this was indeed the bear who had carried her here. "Why didn't you listen to what I said?" he cried. "If you'd only stayed in your room and not seen me like this for 3 days, the curse that forces me to live as a bear would have been broken. But now I am doomed to be a bear forever, and I must go and live with my wicked stepmother in her castle east of the sun and west of the moon." "I'm so sorry," she began, but the prince cut her off. "It's too late," he said. "Go back to your room." So she ran off back to her bedroom, where she lay awake for hours worrying, before finally drifting off to sleep just before the sun rose. When she woke up in the morning, the castle had disappeared, and she found herself alone in an old wooden hut, her coat and boots left out at the end of the bed. She wrapped herself up and headed out of the front door and began to walk, not really knowing which way she should go, but sure she needed to find the prince. Eventually, she came to a huge mountain, where she found an old woman playing with a golden apple. "Excuse me," she said, "I'm looking for a castle east of the sun and west of the moon. Do you know the way there?" "I've never heard of it," said the woman, "but I have a friend who might know. She lives not far from here. Take my horse and he'll carry you there. He knows the way. And take this golden apple with you as well." So she climbed up onto the old woman's horse and they galloped off to another house, where another old woman lived alone. The farmer's daughter knocked on the door and asked the old woman if she knew the way to a castle east of the sun and west of the moon. The woman shook her head. "I'm sorry," she said. "I don't know, but I have a friend who might. Leave your horse with me and take mine instead. He knows the way. Take this with you as well. It might help you on your journey." And the woman handed her a golden comb. Now, the farmer's daughter couldn't imagine what use a golden comb or a golden apple might be for that matter. But she thanked the woman and they swapped horses and off she went again, until finally she arrived at a third little house, where a third old woman was sitting alone, working at a golden spinning wheel. "Excuse me," said the farmer's daughter, "your friend sent me here. Can you tell me the way to the castle east of the sun and west of the moon?" "I can't," said the woman, "but I can lend you a horse who will take you to meet the east wind. He blows about all over the place, so he's bound to know something," she said. "You can take my golden spinning wheel with you too, in case it helps." What a heavy thing for the poor farmer's daughter to lug around with her. Still, she didn't want to seem rude, so she thanked the old woman, took the spinning wheel, swapped horses again, and set off to meet the east wind. "East wind!" cried the farmer's daughter when they arrived. "Can you hear me? I'm looking for the castle east of the sun and west of the moon. Can you take me there?" "No," the wind whispered in a voice as soft as a breeze rustling through the trees. "I can't, but I will take you to my brother, the west wind, who is much stronger than me." And with that, he lifted her up into the air, and she was carried along to meet the west wind. "Brother," whispered the east wind, "I have found a girl looking for the castle east of the sun and west of the moon. Do you know the way?" "No," wailed the west wind in a ghostly voice, like a gust whistling through a crack in the window. "But our sister, the south wind, is stronger still. I will take her there." And again the girl was carried away on a gust of wind, watching the ground below get smaller and smaller as she flew through the air. "Sister," said the west wind, "I have brought you a girl who is searching for a castle east of the sun and west of the moon. Can you take her there?" "No," howled the south wind in a voice like a storm raging through the skies. "I do not know the way, but I have heard our sister the north wind talk of this place. I will take you to her." and the farmer's daughter was blown so fast across the world that she found herself face to face with the north wind in an instant. "Please say you can help me," she cried before the south wind had time to speak. "I've travelled so far and I'm so worried about my friend." "Well, well," boomed the north wind in a voice so big that it almost knocked her over. "Tell me what you are looking for and I will try." And there came a noise like a tornado, which, after a moment, the girl realised was a laugh. "I'm looking for a castle east of the sun and west of the moon, where my friend is being kept under a curse. Can you take me there?" The north wind sighed. Such a deep sigh that the whole world shook. "I will try," she said, "but it won't be easy. I once blew a leaf all the way to that castle just to see if I could do it, and it exhausted me. Taking you and your golden spinning wheel there won't be easy, but I'll do my best." And so the north wind took a deep breath, so deep that it sucked in clouds from the sky all around them, and she blew as hard as she could, sending the farmer's daughter flying through the air until, crash, she landed just outside a beautiful castle. And who should she see coming out of the front of the castle but a grumpy old witch, who slammed the door behind her and shouted and spat at everyone she saw. What a horrid old woman. When she saw the farmer's daughter lying on the ground, instead of helping her up, the witch stamped over and gave her a shove. "What are you doing lazing around outside my castle?" she said. "Get up and make yourself useful." The farmer's daughter struggled to her feet, and it was then that the old witch saw the golden spinning wheel. Now the witch had a fondness for shiny things, and loved anything golden, so as soon as she saw it, she wanted it. "Ooh," she cried, "gimme, gimme, gimme." "No," said the farmer's daughter, "it's mine. It was given to me by a friend." "Fine," said the witch, clicking her tongue impatiently. "I'll pay you for it. How much?" "I don't want money," said the girl, thinking quickly, "but I'll sell it to you for a spell." Said the witch, eyeing up the spinning wheel. "All right, what do you want?" "I'd like a spell that removes curses and shows things as they really are," she said. "Done," the witch agreed. "Now gimme." "Hold on a moment," said the farmer's daughter. "I also have a golden apple and a golden comb. I'll sell those to you too if you like." The witch's eyes lit up when she saw them. "What do you want?" she cried again, stamping her foot impatiently. "I want a spell that will enable me to sneak in anywhere I like without being seen. And I want a spell to take me home safely, wherever I am." "Done," said the witch, ripping out pages from her spell book and throwing them at the farmer's daughter. And she grabbed the golden objects and ran off into the castle to put them away. Can you guess what the farmer's daughter did next? She used the first spell to sneak into the castle and find where the bear was being hidden. She used the second spell to turn the bear back into the handsome prince he really was, and together they escaped the castle. And she used the third spell to take them both home to her father's house, where they lived together happily ever after. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed the story.